Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. By now, I'm assuming that the vast majority of you have heard the news that the SEC is indeed officially going to be appealing the decision from Judge Torres in the SEC v. Ripple case. If you want the specifics, it was my very last video. Go check it out. I'm not going to focus that much in this video on the specifics of it, what it means from a legal perspective, just a little bit. I mostly want to talk about the topic of what this will mean for XRP, price-wise, this market cycle. Is XRP going to miss yet another bull run because of SEC nonsense? It's a reasonable question, and I've seen all sorts of XRP holders on social media platform X share pretty serious concerns from, it seems like, the way they're articulating this, that XRP is just not going to go. There's no way that with this appeal hanging over the heads of every XRP, there's just no way that XRP is going to blast off and hit a new all-time high. And I will just tell you here at the outset of the video, I do not buy that narrative. XRP is still unshackled. It is still free. It does have regulatory clarity. No matter what happens with this lawsuit, with the appeal, it absolutely will not impact secondary market transactions. So you do need to know that. That's a key takeaway here. But even though that's obviously true, another smart question you might have is, okay, but even if you're right, Moon Lambo, which would be the normal, you're usually right, Moon Lambo, even if, does the rest of the world know that? Are they going to panic sell? Is this price actually just going to keep cratering to the downside? Because if this knowledge, even if true, isn't broadly disseminated, then what's it matter? So I think that's a pretty fair question. But I think that what we've seen since this news broke is, price-wise, it's a pretty clear indication that this is not some sort of disaster. It really isn't. I just don't think this, and I'm going to articulate why. Also, I got perspective from, I don't know how many chart analysts, maybe 6 or so different XRP chart analysts in this video, and you'll see a recurring theme is, from all of them, that they're not concerned about what this means for XRP participating in this bull run. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, it is worth noting, before this news broke, that the SEC was going to be appealing in the ruling in the SEC v. Ripple case, the market was already looking a bit bloody. Like, things heading down, Bitcoin down, ETH down, everything's down. In fact, you can still see that's pretty much the case. I'll just scroll through Live CoinWatch. You can see we're basically in a sea of red. So directionally, we were already doing that. Now, of course, when we got this news about XRP specifically, it did exacerbate the problem. That is fair to note. And so XRP currently down, let's see, 10.83% over the last 24 hours. But look at this 24-hour chart. The news broke right after 4 p.m. on October 2nd. On what the hell day is it even? It's Thursday. Oh, by the way, in case anybody's curious, it is 1:37 a.m. as I record this video, Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. So technically it was yesterday. I don't like to count it as that until I go to sleep. But so it was the 2nd at about 4 p.m. that this news broke. And for those of you looking at the screen, you can see the chaos that ensued. Let's call it chaos. Let's use that term loosely. Yes, you can see if you got a couple eyeballs or even just one good one, you can see that, yeah, it definitely caused XRP to drop in notable fashion off a cliff in terms of price. Visually, you can see that, right? But what was the percentage loss? How much was actually lost? Not that much. As it turns out, when this news broke, XRP, I'll just use round numbers here, it was about 56 cents. Then the news broke, and yes, we did see a notable drop that absolutely did spook some XRP holders, but only enough to get it to drop down to about 53 cents. And then it's been higher than that. I mean, it got back above, it got almost 55 cents after that. It almost reclaimed the whole thing, and it's mostly been moving sideways since then. So, it's 53.5 cents right now. Is this, like, intimidating to you? Seriously? And, I remember saying for weeks and weeks leading up to this, I said, look, I'm not going to make a prediction as to whether or not the SEC is going to appeal. It's not in their interest, but they do all sorts of stuff that's not in their interest, so I could totally buy them doing it, and now we know the answer is yes. But I said, look, I think that most XRP holders do understand that no matter what, even if there's an appeal, it doesn't change anything for everyday XRP holders like you and I. It doesn't change anything from a regulatory clarity perspective, and it doesn't change anything on secondary market transactions. It purely does not. Because the lawsuit only specifically pertains to Ripple's transactions with XRP. So if Ripple's conducting transactions on secondary market, okay, sure. But that's Ripple. If you and I are buying and selling, say we're blindly buying and selling on Coinbase, for example, that is not being challenged. Straight up, it's not. There's nothing to be fearful for the regular XRP holder, so far as I can see. I haven't seen anything articulated. I've been tracking what various perspectives from all sorts of XRP community member attorneys. I haven't seen anything that alarms me about this, to be honest with you. I just haven't. It's not fun if you're Ripple, and that sucks, and I don't like the SEC. But if you're just a regular XRP holder, does it matter? No. I don't see any reason to believe that it actually does. And so this drop happened, so call it from about 4 p.m., kind of bottomed out a little before 5:30 p.m., so call it about an hour and 25 minutes. Then started moving back to the upside, and ever since then, though, we've mostly been moving sideways. So, folks, what I'm telling you is if the world thought that this was some sort of terrible thing, if XRP speculators on a global scale thought this was a disaster, you would have seen a way more serious drop-off than what we saw. And you wouldn't then, so have that drop and then move 8 hours. It's been about 8 hours, soon 9 hours, since this news broke, or since it stopped dropping. Well, why did it stop there? I mean, this is what I'm saying. I think that there are some people who didn't know any better. They saw the news, they got spooked, they sold, and I said, again, for weeks leading up to this, I'll not be surprised if there's a drop upon the news, but I said, I still don't think it's going to matter, even if it's 15 or 20%. And we didn't get anywhere near that. From 56 cents to 53 cents, that's about a 5% drop. So yeah, we're down, now it's over 11% over the last 24 hours, but only about 5% or so of that is from the news. We got a 5% drop. Didn't we have like over a 75% drop in December of 2020 when the SEC sued Ripple? I mean, it was dramatic. How high was XRP? It was probably actually close to 60 cents. I can't remember exactly, but then it dropped to like 16 or 17 cents. That is not happening here. The typical XRP holder does understand this does not matter, and almost nobody got spooked. So I'll just say this. Even if the price of XRP goes lower after this, I think you're going to have a tough time arguing that it's because of what the SEC did here. It's not the case that hysteria starts, people are freaking out, but then it pauses for 8 hours for no damn reason, and then it goes back to the downside. I'm saying if XRP goes even lower in price, which, good. It's people are speculating all the time, 24/7, 365, fine, but I think you'd have a real hard time convincing, certainly me, that it would be because of this. When people are panicking, they don't just stop panicking randomly for 8 or 9 hours. That is not what we saw when the SEC sued Ripple. And so, given this is the case, and speculators understand this, to think that Ripple, or that XRP is not going to participate in this bull market, I just think that's silly nonsense. And so I shared this post at 7:07 p.m., again, my time zone, Central Time here, and I was just watching it. I've been watching it throughout the evening. And it's just not tanking. It just isn't. Barely, right? And so here's what I wrote at 7:07 p.m. It has been 3 hours since the news broke that the SEC is appealing the ruling in the Ripple lawsuit. The price of XRP is only down 2 cents from when the news broke, 56 cents to 54 cents. There is no mass hysteria over this, and there shouldn't be. I think this shows most XRP holders understand this development does not, in any shape, way, or form, harm XRP. XRP has regulatory clarity, and even if the SEC wins on appeal, it will not impact secondary market transactions at all. And again, to clarify, as I said a minute ago, I'm talking about for secondary market transactions that you and I might conduct, because we have nothing to do with Ripple. If it's Ripple specifically, yes, that's exactly what the lawsuit's touching on. Yes, of course. But that doesn't matter to you and I, does it? No, of course not. So anyway, I then wrote, we are fine. Yeah, a few holders clearly got scared and sold, but they're in the minority. If we were going to tank 75% like happened in December of 2020, I think we would have seen a much more aggressive move to the downside by now. Maybe XRP price will go a little lower, but even if that happens, who cares? It doesn't matter. This clearly will not negatively impact how XRP performs this market cycle, right? So we get a 5% drop and now XRP just has to sit on the sidelines again? No, folks. And you may notice that XRP is still available today on every exchange that it was yesterday. This has not changed. It has not changed at all. And the analyst that I followed that decided to talk about XRP in terms of market activity today, there is no fear from these folks, which frankly is not surprising to me at all. Here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. This is at 4:19 p.m., so about 20 minutes after the news broke. And he did note in a separate post, which I'll pull up, he was aware of the appeal, and he still went long on XRP. Check this out. He wrote, patiently waited for this retest, and we finally got it. Filled on XRP longs. It's worth noting, if we lose the lower time frame blue zone, mid-range, we probably head down to the range lows, so make sure risk is managed here. And then he followed that up with this, because people were coming at him like, wait a minute, didn't you hear about the appeal? You're longing XRP, what's going on? And see, the thing is, for him, the narrative doesn't matter. It's just about the levels for him. And so here's what he wrote. Yes, I'm aware of the SEC appeal on the Ripple case, but at the same time, in the last 12 hours, seemingly unbeknownst to a lot of crypto Twitter, Bitwise just filed for an XRP ETF. XRP will be the next approved ETF in Bitcoin and ETH, in my opinion. As far as narratives go, I like that one. At the end of the day, though, we simply trade the charts. And we hit my area of interest, so I pulled the trigger. Simple. Yeah, so that's the level he was talking about. And whether this was the reason or not, that's what he was waiting for. The price got low enough where he's like, oh, okay, well, let's go long now while everybody's afraid. That's what he did. Then there was this post from chart analyst Dom at TraderView 2 XRP update. Now this first, I've got a few things from him. This first one is from October 1st, the day before we found out that the SEC was going to appeal the Torres decision, that ruling in the SEC v. Ripple case. But he was citing levels here, so I wanted to start with this one. He said, XRP update. We now see the significance of the 63 cent to 65 cent level I have been speaking of for months. I believe a full break and flip of this level to support is the last large zone holding XRP back. We have failed to hold, resulting in a false breakout back to waiting. And so, as I'm sure you haven't forgotten, just the other day, XRP got as high as what? Somewhere around 66 cents. He's saying it was, that failed to hold as a false breakout. So, yes, we have to wait a little bit longer, but it doesn't change anything from his perspective on a higher time frame. And so, here we have a post from him. This is from October 2nd. This is at 5:18 p.m., so about an hour and 20 minutes after the news broke about the appeal. And here's what Dom wrote. Too bad this coin has had a headwind of news for 4 years. The breakout was totally a trap, and we are now trading under our 3-month uptrend. If the red zone fails to hold, it'd put us in a pretty bad spot short term. Okay, note that he said short term. Okay, and so the red zone that he's talking about here would be roughly 53 cents for XRP, which, and by the way, I saw that level roughly cited by multiple chart analysts, and at the time I'm recording this, we are above that. I mean, really, like this was. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I kind of figured to some degree, at least, with this news breaking, if it was going to happen, I kind of figured, yeah, he'd probably have a drop to whatever degree. This drop, it's probably a little bit smaller than I would have expected. I wouldn't have been surprised if the drop from this right out the gate would have been more like 10 or 15%. But we didn't get that, and I'm happy to see it. Then we've got this. This is also from Dom. This is at 6:05 p.m. and he said, for all the XRP holders, this appeal shouldn't change much about the price of XRP in a strong, expansive altcoin market. Getting sued should be worse than a final appeal, yet XRP rose 1,000% off the lawsuit sell-off lows in 2021. Either way, we need alt season and Bitcoin at $70,000 plus. Now, that I buy, because the asset class moves in tandem. And so if we're going to have Bitcoin start to lead the way, we're going to have a proper alt season, XRP is going to be a part of it. XRP, again, trading on every exchange that it was the day before this news broke. It just straight up does not matter. That's how I feel. And if you've got a compelling case to the contrary, I'm happy to hear. I think it's an interesting and fun discussion here. But I haven't seen really compelling arguments. It's more like it's fear. I see a lot of fear from some people, but I still don't think it's most people, to be honest with you. Then Dom also wrote the following. I think putting strong weight on this lawsuit has been a mistake. You just have to accept there haven't been enough aggressive buyers to push this thing higher. Even when XRP was declared not a security last July, we retraced the entire move. What does that tell you? Spot on. What it tells you is what I keep talking about. There's insufficient demand for XRP. That's why the price didn't go higher. There's not some sort of fundamental problem with XRP. And that's not a slam against XRP. It's an acknowledgement that as that happened, the whole market was trending down after XRP got legal clarity. XRP has never run to a new all-time high without a proper alt season. It's going to do it with the rest of the market. So if it's not doing it now, it just means we need more liquidity flowing in. We need greater demand. That's not surprising. And that's okay. Here's a post from chart analyst Dr. Magic. He's also not concerned. Says, this appeal doesn't really change anything for me. Obviously, previous week breakout failed, but other than that, it's still ranging in this 1.5 years of reaccumulation range. 52 cents is lower time frame support, with green zone being higher time frame support. So in the short term here, his level's not that different from what Dom was citing, somewhere around 53 cents ish. He says 52, fine. And then as far as a higher time frame, he's like, well, as long as it doesn't get below what do you get here, 45, 46 cents? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's just that would be the higher time frame support, which at this moment at least we're safely above. Then there's also this from chart analyst Crypto Michael. After the news broke, 5:44 p.m. Central Time, he said, I am not rushing into any XRP trades. I would only get into an XRP long if it can break back above the pennant resistance at 60 cents. Until that happens, I am waiting to see how this develops. And then in another post, the next one is 6:47, so a little bit after that. It says, as a trader, this XRP news is actually exciting as we're going to get some great volatility and setups off this news. For holders, not so much, but I guess they're used to it by now. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say we're pretty used to it by now. But he says, I'm back in trading mode. This is where I thrive. This does not concern him one tiny little bit, very clearly, as far as what happens on a higher time frame. Then there was this from chart analyst, Charting Guy. XRP breakout the other day was indeed a fake out. Shout out the SEC for protecting us. Now, obviously, the last part he's being sarcastic. Oh, I feel so protected. Thank you for the protection, SEC. but yeah, he was noting, the fact that we got up to whatever we got to 66 cents, whatever it was. Yeah, it was a fake out. That stuff happens. Not the end of the world. But it doesn't change anything again on a higher time frame. And in fact, there was also somebody wrote to him named Ektar People and wrote, the SEC price was already going down. And Charting Guy responded with, yes, they added fuel to the fire. Spot on. That is correct. The price was already going down, so it was going to be a bad day price-wise anyway. But then we're about 5% lower than we otherwise would have been. But again, I don't see how this... I mean, that was it, folks. I don't buy that you can have a break. And so there's a stereo. People are panic selling, but then we just pause randomly for 8 hours, and then it just drops more. I'm saying if we get another job, fine. I just don't buy that it would be because of this. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. There's also this post from chart analyst Bobby A. He said, this changes absolutely nothing. The longer the base, the higher in space. The monthly chart is telling the true story, not this appeal. Cheers. Yeah, I buy that as well. I don't think any of this matters. Then there's also this post from chart analyst E-Grade Crypto. And he was noting, and this, by the way, he posted this in the morning before we found out about the appeal. I just wanted to highlight this because part of what he wrote here is, kind of a key range was in 54.28 cents to 53.75 cents, which frankly is pretty similar to what many other analysts were watching for, including Credible Crypto, Dom, who else? Dr. Magic. I mean, there's like several analysts that were like, hey, here's the level, and they were slight discrepancy in terms of precisely where it is, but pretty damn close. And so none of this changes. I'm excited for what's going to happen. I still believe that we're going to have a fantastic alt season here at some point. I think liquidity, obviously, it's on the rise. I've been highlighting just factual data on that recently. This is an exciting time to be an XRP holder. The appeal, although it scared some people, didn't scare most. Good, because it doesn't make sense to be spooked by it. And the best is yet ahead. That's my opinion. If you've got a compelling case to the contrary, I'm certainly willing to hear you out for sure. And I think it's an interesting topic for conversation, but I'm just not seeing a reason to be scared here. I'm really not. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.